चुत हे पार ब्रह्म अविनाशी अविनाश हे पूर्ण हे सर्व में दुख भंजन गुण तास हे संगी हे निरंकार हे गुण सब टेक हे गोविंद हे गुण निधान जाके सदा विवेक हे अपरंपर हर हरे है बिहोवन हार हे संता के सदा संग निधारा आधार हे ठाकुर हाँ दास रो है निर्गुण गुण नहीं कोई नानक दीजै नाम दान राखो ये बरोए।
So, just to reintroduce ourselves, I'm Gurman Singh. This is my this is my partner in crime, Bhai Preetam Singh ji. And the topic that we were given for our second presentation, that was going beyond the bare minimum. So this is a very vast topic. When I started writing about it, there was like basically no end to what I could have written. So I try to fit as many slides I could and try to compact all the information I had. I'm going to start with a pankti from Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and this will, maybe you've heard about this pankti before. And so the pankti is from Siddhi Rag, and it goes, Ek til pyara visrai, bhagat nehi hoye. So anyone with like a basic understanding of maybe Gurbani, could you guys try to maybe give me like a meaning of this? What do you guys think this means? Ek til pyara visrai, bhagat nehi hoye. Anybody? Okay, do you want to try?
कई लोग कहते हैं कि भगत है बट कोई एक या दो ही होंगे ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੱਚਾ ਨਾਮ ਰੱਬ ਨੂੰ ਭਗਤੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ।
ਉਹ ਭਗਤੀ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ ਜੇ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਤਿਲ ਪਿਆਰਾ ਮੰਨ ਲਓ ਅਸਲੀ ਮੰਨ ਦੋ ਮਹੀਨੇ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਭਗਤੀ ਉਹੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਵੀ ਤਿਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਮੰਨ ਲਓ ਪਿਆਰਾ ਇੱਕ ਸਵਾਸ ਪਿਆਰਾ ਵਿਸਰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ।
So these are the standards. This is the high standards that Guru Sahib Ji has given to us. That ek til, for one moment, pyara visra. If you forget your pyara Akal book, if you forget him for even a moment, a single moment, not even a second, dil is like a split second. Bhagat ke nahi hoye. What kind of bhakti is that? What kind of worship is that if you forget Akal book for even a single moment? So this is the high standards that Guru Sahib Ji has set for us. So for those of you who think that I'm doing the minimum and that's enough, the minimum there is, this is just written straight in Gurbani that there is no minimum. There's no, if just as many seconds there are in a day, as many milliseconds there are in a day, that's how much you have to give effort to Sikhi. So although there's no like a minimum of what we should do, there's still a minimum of a requirement to become a Sikh. So there are some, before we take Amrit and we go into the Darbar, we have to make promises to Guru Sahib. Before Guru Sahib Ji blesses us with Amrit, before he's willing to accept us, he gives us some guidelines. And by telling us these guidelines, if you are willing to follow those guidelines, then you are given Amrit. So what are some of these guidelines? I'm not going to go into too much detail. Abstain from the 4 cardinal sins, or what you call the Bajr Grahat. Satbani Nitrim, which is your 5 daily prayers in the morning. You guys should know them. Japji Sahib, Sri Jap Sahib, Svaiye, Chaupai Sahib, Sri Anand Sahib in the evening time. Sri Rara Sahib and Sri Anand Sahib. Sorry, Sri Soila Sahib. I've been doing it wrong this whole time. Thanks for telling me. And then we have Babek, So that's eating from only other strict Gursikhs and wearing bana full time. So if you break any of these rules, you are not considered a Sikh in good standing with the Guru Sahib. So we think that we might be following the minimum, but the minimum is actually much higher than we believe. So I want to engage Sangat more, so I hope you guys are like not shy, or else my presentation is going to go to waste, okay? Because I have a lot of questions for you guys. So I want to ask, you guys can share with me, why did you take Amrit? That's the first question. Why did you take Amrit?
If you have taken it.
If you have taken Amrit, why did you take Amrit?
If you don't volunteer, we're going to call out. So it's easier if you volunteer.
Bhai Sahib, you had a really good story. You can tell me why did you take Amrit? Just like if you know, just sum it up. Why did you? What was like confused?
After he got birthday, I had a Shahidi Sakhi.
Okay.
But only took Amrit once I was blessed with Sangates in Surrey.
Okay. So what was why though? Why did you want to take Amrit?
What's your goal for taking Amrit? When you took Amrit, what do you expect to get out of taking Amrit?
To be connected with our Maharaj.
To be connected with Maharaj, okay. Any other points? Sometimes we ask this question a lot at different seminars and stuff, and usually answers are consistently the same. People say, I want to become a good Gursikh. I want to meet Guruji. I want to please Guruji. But we should know exactly what the exact reason is. There's one reason in particular for which we have to take Amrit. Yes?
I would like to say it in Gurbani. Baba apna bisoni gaon, apna bisoni gaon, kari kari ka hum aage, gayat chetna. So I don't want to be reincarnated again.
Yeah, very good answer.
I want
Yeah.
to reach Guru Sahib and become one.
So these are all valid answers. The real reason, if we say the one main reason for taking Amrit, is to meet Vaheguru. Reason is why. We can't meet Vaheguru without taking Amrit. Why is that? Why are we saying that? Because if we read Guru Mantra, then Guru Nanak Dev Ji tells us that Vaheguru, one of Vaheguru's good is that his Gur Prasad. Only accessible through the Kirpa of Guru. Gur Prasad Rahi. Kirpa Rahi. So if we go to the true Guru, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, at this time Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, in Darbar Panj Pyare, they administer Amrit and give us Naam Guru Mantra. This is the only way to become Guru Wala and then meet Vaheguru. No other religion, no other path has access to Vaheguru. Because no one else knows about Vaheguru. Only Guru Nanak Dev Ji knows about Vaheguru. So the main reason why we take Amrit, our main goal in life, is to meet Vaheguru, to prapti of Vaheguru.
So obviously, if, for those of you who do Rara Sahib, or maybe this is the first time you've heard Rara Sahib in Darbar that we have in the evenings here, you guys all know this Shabad. So let's all sing it together. Pei prapat manak dehriya, Gobind milan ki e teri bariya, Abr kaaj tera kidar na kaam, Mil saad sangat bhaj keval naam. So your main, like Bhai Sahib said, that the main goal is Prabhu Prapti, to meet Akal Purkh. And how do we meet Akal Purkh? Sare baki kam chhad ke, Sangat naal jod ke, join with Sangat, Jap Naam, and follow Guru Sahib Ji's hukams. And by doing so, we'll be able to accomplish our goals. So I want to give you guys, now I just want to tell you about give you a speech about why you should do more than the minimum. I want to help people maybe with some guidelines and stuff I've learned from other Gursikhs about what's necessary and what can help you to do more than the bare minimum. So we just discussed a goal, right? So now that we have this goal, our goal is to meet Vaheguru. So it's very sad that sometimes that a lot of people when we go around to different seminars and panths around the panth and different places in India, and when we ask this question, 99% of the people, they don't know why they really took Amrit. They don't know what the goal of Sikhi is. And imagine if you're like anything, anything sports related, if you want to be an entrepreneur, anyone, if you want to be successful in any field of life, if you don't have that, if you don't know why you're doing it, then how are you going to be successful in it, right? Like, let's say if you want to be a successful businessman, okay? But like you're just like, okay, I want to run a business, but you have no idea of like what's a balance sheet, how do I, what's my goal of running this business? Do I have to make money? Or what if there could be someone who thinks that, okay, I don't even have to make money. What if I just get a loss, right? If I don't make any money, well, I'll just still run this business, right? Because in actuality, it's like, you're saying the same thing, right? I have no idea why I took Amrit. I have no idea why I'm starting this business. So how are you going to be successful if you don't have that goal? So having a direct path, it helps you to get where you want to go. Because once you have that goal, and once you have that vision, now all you have to do is just, everything in your life has to be dedicated to achieve that goal. And that's true for Sikhi and anything in life. If you want to be successful, whatever you have to want to be successful in, Baki sare kaam kar chhad ke, you have to focus on that one thing, and that's how you will be successful. So now, Guru Sahib Di Kirpa Naal, that guys know what your goal is. Now you can have a plan. We can make a plan how we're going to achieve that goal. And so the main goal is having darshan of Vaheguru. And sometimes what I do personally is I divide my life into sub goals. Okay, anything that's helping me achieve that goal, but it's just a level, just a different level of that. So what would that include? Okay, if I want to, Guru Sahib says you have to become a Kirtani, right? If I have that goal in mind that I'm going to become a Kirtani, now I'm going to practice every single day for 1 or 2 months. I'll do 1 or 2 hours a day, and then maybe Guru Sahib Di Kirpa Naal, I'll be able to do Kirtan after 2 months. And if I didn't have that goal, then what would happen? Anytime I have free time, I would just waste it. But if you have a vision, I'm going to do this. Because sometimes that vision of reaching a Kalpurk is very, very high, right? You can't just say, I'm going to meet a Kalpurk. What does that even mean, right? It's really hard to achieve that goal. But if you can break it down to sub goals, okay, I want to become a Kirtani. I want to become a Khandapati. Every day I'm going to practice 30 angs. I'm going to read over and over and over again till I build a speed where I can do it all, the seva in a Khandpat. Or maybe I want to do Panthik seva. Maybe just pick one sort of seva. I want to do Langar di seva, right? I want to wash Pande. Maybe just 2-3 months, just get that feeling. Okay, I wash Pande, and explore everything. But if you break it down in goals, you can't do everything at once. That's also hard. But if you break it down in goals, I want to become a Khandapati, I want to become Kirtani. Maybe 1-2 months for this, 1 or 2 months for that. Just like someone trains for when they do Olympics speed running, right? One day they're doing sprints. The other day they're doing hill climbing. The other they're doing a long run, a long distance running. That's exactly what Sikhi is, right? You have that main goal, but you can divide it into sub goals to make it easier for you. So some thoughts I want to put in your mind is how do we achieve this goal, and how is greatness achieved in general? So just think about that, just relative to your own life. How is greatness achieved? How do people do great things?
This is a kind of a question that we wanted to pose. And I think it's important to keep this in mind, is to do some self-analysis. We've all taken Amrit, right? Or a lot of us here are Amritari. So I've taken Amrit. I've been Amritari for many years. If I look back at before taking Amrit and now, is my avastha the same? Is my lifestyle the same? If it is, then I haven't done anything, right? I've been Amritari for this many years. Let's say from last year till today. I should do some self-analysis. Is my avastha better than last year? Do I have more bani kant? Am I doing more simran every day? Am I doing more part? Do I have more love for Vaheguru? There are things you can use to measure yourself, right? We're not saying measure other people, but you can measure yourself. You can measure your progress in Sikhi. When I started, I took Amrit, I didn't know how to do Ladivar part. Can I do part from Ladivar now? How fast can I do part? We're not saying you have to badda chatti karo, but you should at least be part sal hona chahiye. You should be able to do a Khand part. If you take an example, like Japji Sahib part, right? A lot of us have Japji Sahib memorized. If you were going to read Japji Sahib from Nadivar Swarup, you could probably do it in like 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes probably, and that's 8 angs. So the speed of Path you're doing, that's more than 60 angs an hour, right? Like you're doing Path pretty quickly. So if you were going to do Akhand Path from anywhere in Guru Sahib's Swarup, you should be able to do Path at that same speed. Why not? It's because we don't try to do the effort. So if you put in the effort, then we'll be able to achieve the goal. We have to realize what are we trying to achieve here? When you measure your goal, right? You say, okay, main Vaheguru nu milna hai. Okay, so now seva thodi mangan bahut asi bahut zyada badi cheez mang rahe hain, seva sadi bahut zyada thodi hai, par we should realize okay, if Guru Sahib is giving us the hukam tusi Vaheguru nu milna hai, that means that it's in our power to do the effort to meet Vaheguru. Kripa Guru Sahib ne karni hai, but we have to do the effort. And how is that? There's proofs in Gurbani, a lot of different panktiyan. This is one pankti that really struck for me. Guru Sahib kehde uchro Ram naam lakh bari. Lakh bari kehde Ram naam uchro. Lakh is 100,000 times. Right? So if you measure that, this is a hukam, a daily hukam. So Guru Sahib kehde bhi lakh bari naam japo, roj. If you calculate that, that's basically 1,000 mala of naam, right? 100 mala ki mala leke, unu 1000 bari fedna roj. That will probably take you like 20 hours, right? But this is a hukam. Uchro Ram Naam Lakh Bari. Hukam ki Guru Sahib ne. It's not if you can try doing it, you know. This is not just a odani gal shadati, right? This is something that physically a person can do. Guru Sahib ne kirpa karni, but you have to put the effort. Once you start trying to do it, it's possible. So if Guru Sahib has given us these kind of goals, we need to realize that in order to achieve the goal, we have to put in the full effort. If someone has a disease, the disease is so big, but we only put a small amount of medicine, so the disease doesn't go away. The medicine has to equal the disease, so the effort has to equal what our goal is. Basically, you have to dedicate your whole entire life to Guru Sahib and to Vaheguru, because that's what Vaheguru is asking. Guru Sahib is asking us to dedicate our whole entire life. It's not about me, if I can't idhar kar liya, 2 घंटे idhar kar liya, idhar nahi. Guru Sahib is saying, we 8 pair naam japo. We swas bhi nahi jana chahiye. Not even a split second should go without Guru Sahib. This is dedication that's needed to achieve these goals.
I want to give you guys some worldly examples of how do people achieve greatness. When I was, before I took Amrit, I used to follow lots of sports a lot. I was crazy about it, right? So that's why sometimes now when I look at examples of sports, it was just a waste of time when I think about it now, like cheering for a team that they don't really even care if you exist or not, right? And it's like just a bunch of players playing. They're only playing for themselves, but you're cheering for them. I just find it weird, right? But now what I like to take from these examples is I want to see like what makes someone great. Because if someone in a worldly sense, if they became great at something, studying that, how can I use those guns, that whatever they did, and how can I use that in my own life to improve my Sikhi? So I have a quote. Maybe you guys have heard of this. This is Vancouver's like more of a hockey town, right? But you guys know who Kobe Bryant is, probably. So a lot of people. This is a quote from Kobe Bryant. A lot of people say they want to be great, but they're not willing to make the sacrifices necessary to achieve greatness. Okay? So a little bit about the mentality of these great sports stars like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And this is what I just studied them, and I'm like, if these people can achieve so much within their fields, what's stopping me? If they put so much effort to do this thing and they became great, what's stopping me from putting that much effort to become a great Guru Sikh? So some examples in their lives, okay? They would be the first people at the gym, the last to leave. How can you think that in Sikhi terms, right? First to Kirtan, stay there the whole time, right? Put that effort in. If there's someone you see who's doing something, use that as a confidence and try to build your own confidence by you thinking that you can do more than that person. You want to do more than that person. If someone's sitting in Kirtan the whole time, maybe sit for the whole kirtan, and then after that do more part, right? There's no end to it. So they would 5 a.m. workouts starting from high school. So this is Kobe Bryant's schedule. Imagine having that maturity when you're in high school to think that like, okay, I'm going to be working out 5 o'clock. No one who's 13 or 14-year-old has that dedication to anything. It's really hard, right, to be that mature that I want to be successful at something. But he would wake up 5 a.m. every single day. 5 to 8 o'clock, he would practice. He would just shoot around, and there would be no one at the gym sometimes. He said he'd work out with the janitor. So that's what his mindset was. He's basically, if you want to say, he was insane, right? He had this one goal. And I used to think that, when I used to watch sports, I used to think that, these black people in general, right? They're just like, they're very athletic. They're tall, they're fast. Like, everything they achieve is just natural. Like they don't have to do anything to get there. But then after, when I got mature and I studied them, like this is the word, to achieve greatness, they had to dedicate their whole lives to it. So 5 to 8 at 8 a.m. he would work out. And then after that he'd do his full studies. And after that it would be like till 8 to 10 o'clock at night, he'd still be studying. And that didn't even stop until he made it to the NBA. Had said before the Olympics, he went for a 40-mile bike ride. So they had a gold medal match. And before the match, he did a 40-mile bike ride. So imagine that thought process, okay? So this is another person. I really like his book, and it inspired me a lot as a Sikh as well. So he's the only man in history to complete a Navy SEALs training, Army Ranger, the Air Force Tactical Air Controller. So basically every accolade in the US Army, he achieved it. And he has the world record for the most pull-ups done. It was like 4,030 push-ups in 17 hours. Pull-ups in 17 hours. Okay? And he also ran an ultra marathon, which is 100 miles. So he ran 100 miles, and he ran the last 20 miles of that race with broken shins. Okay? So now look at that photo right there. When he ran that race, he was this fat guy right here he said, I didn't achieve anything in life. I was amounting to nothing. That's basically what he was talking about. And it came to him in his mind, just like, I want to change everything, and I want to be great. He didn't know what he wanted to do, but he just said, I have to change something about myself. He said after like 1 or 2 weeks, he said, I'm going to run an ultra marathon. Okay? And there was some race that, it was like a 200 or 300 mile race, and he just phoned them. He's like, I want to join the race. He's like, you can't just join like that. You have to have some experience first. And so you have to run this ultra marathon, which is only 100 miles. And imagine being 300 pounds. He said, I had never ran in my life. Like, it's been like 10 years since I even just did a run around the block, right? I was just like this fat guy. He worked out a little bit. But he made it. He put it in his mind that I'm going to complete this. No matter what happens, even if I have to die, I'm going to complete this because I have to change my life. And while he was running, you guys just think about it, 100 miles, okay? It's like hard to even, like, I don't know if any of you guys are ultra runners here, but I was running in the morning today and I was like trying to get, so he ran 80 miles, and at the last, like when the 80th mile started, his shins broke. And he said, I'm still not stopping. He ran the last 20 miles of the race with broken shins. Okay? So you guys are probably thinking again, what's the connection to Sikhi? Maybe some of you guys have that mindset where you can connect anything to Sikhi. I love connecting things that are outside of Sikhi to Sikhi to motivate me. So how many times in our life, in our Sikhi, do we think that, oh, मैं थक गया, right? Like, oh, थे 2:30 बजे उठना आया, oh, कल मैं काम तो मैं 10 बजे लेट आया, और 4 घंटे लिए मेरी गल नहीं बननी, after sleep at least 6 hours, right? उठे डॉक्टर भी तो कहते 8 घंटे भी सोना पैना है. And then you guys just you wouldn't wake up, or we don't wake up. Everyone experiences it, right? Like it's a very big problem that you just like choti gal piche aap til kar dende hain. Right? You just think of, you put that thing in your mind, you just make an excuse. But what if you were in a situation where it's like life or death, where everything changed? Like if someone told you, okay, put a gun to your head, you have to wake up at 2:30 in the morning, or I'm going to kill you. It wouldn't matter then, right? You would stay up.
Tomorrow morning.
So if these people outside of Sikhi, if they're able to achieve these amazing goals, amazing accomplishments, without a guru, what are we able to accomplish? So, just sometimes I notice in our community that we have like an inferiority complex, that we think that ਜਿਵੇਂ ਬਾਕੀ ਬੰਦੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, I would say ਜਿਵੇਂ ਗੋਰੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ or western people ਕਰਦੇ ਜਾਂ ਲੋਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹ ਵਧੀਆ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, whatever how they set up their system, how they work, everything they do is proper. And it's happened to me personally in my life. When I started with Bana, people would tell me in my family, oh, these are not like proper clothes. Like proper clothes are like, you know, like Western. If you go to a job, a nice dress shirt, or if you're shorts, t-shirt, whatever. But this is just strange. Why is it strange to us? Why is it strange to people in our community? Because we have that complex. We think that these people know more than us. And it's not. I don't want to let it be like a home thing, but it's like being proud, right? I'm not proud of myself. I'm proud of what Guru Sahib Ji has given me. I'm proud that I'm a part of this group. We are all a part of this group. And we have a Guru who is the greatest. You guys all agree with that, right? Our Guru Sahib Ji is the greatest. So you guys should be proud of that. And never ever be shy to think that what other people say, their opinions matter more than what Guru Sahib Ji says. So if these people from other communities, if they can do it, we can do it. We can do it better than them. Because you have Guru Sahib Ji on your side. You have other Gur Sikhs on your side. So I just, I know the odds of you being where you are very slim. You being in this situation of being a Gur Sikh. So you're probably looking at the number, it's just a random number. I did a calculation, okay? I said, there's about 8 billion people in this world. And among those 8 billion, there's, I think the population of like the Sikhs that I read online was about 30 million, okay? From those 30 million, you could say that there's probably a very few, how many people in your family or your relatives or just friends that you know have taken Amrit? Probably like, for me, I did it in terms of what I know, so I did it probably like 1 in every 50 people I know. So like probably like what? Like 1 million people have taken Amrit in Punjab. And if you take out of those million people, how many people are just, like they just took Amrit when they were a kid, or they don't really follow the rules, you can take out another like 900,000. And among those people who are following that basic just Nityan and Baniya, you can take out another like maybe 80, 90,000. How many are left with? Maybe 10,000 people in this world that are like you. I'm being generous, right? That have given or take the opportunity to go out and like they're looking for Guru Sahib. So you guys are among those people, that special group of people that are seeking something, seeking Vaheguru. So you guys are part of the 0.00001.5%. Now my math is not good, but that's pretty special, man. So like, be proud of yourself, be proud of your Sikhi, and know that if these other people in these other categories of life, if they can do it, you can do it. And I'm not saying just in Sikhi wise. If you want to do what David Goggins did, you can do it better than him. Because Guru Sahib, you have Guru Sahib on your side. If you want to be the best soccer player, the best ping pong player, Bhai sahab jede the silver medalist the, you can be gold medalist because you have Guru Sahib ji on your side, right? So here are some, I gave some examples, worldly examples. We're going to give some examples of Gur Sikhs that went above and beyond.
So when we think about the goal of meeting Vaheguru, the best way to start is to look at examples of people who have met Vaheguru, who have attempted to meet Vaheguru. Suhagniya karma kamamniya sei karma kare. We're supposed to do whatever other Suhagans do. That will make us like a Suhagan, right? If we follow these soul brides, we will become a soul bride ourselves. So some examples from Sikh history. Baba Mahanam Singh ji, Puttamare. So if you, I read his Jivan Katha, and it's very inspiring. The reason why I say it's very inspiring is because even without taking Amrit, he had such dedication for Gurbani. I mean, you hear the stuff that he was doing, the amount of part he was doing, that you get floored. Like in a part mein ek din kive kar sakda. And when you read his Uddha pa gal suna ke bhi inne part roke na indo koi kar nahi sakda udne gal bana. But if you actually try doing part yourself, take those goals. Look at Baba Mahanam Singh. He had the goals. Main Vaheguru darshan karne hai. Maine part ek din ch karne hai. He started 100 Japji Sahibs, 200 Japji Sahibs. From there, he lost count. Just kept doing all day and night Japji Sahibs apart. So this dedication, right? In the beginning, there's an amount of heart which is needed. The heart is not wrong. You know, sometimes we hear people say the heart nahi karna. Sikhi heart nahi karida. Ita Hindu karde, appa nahi karde. No, that's wrong. A heart hai hunda. Man nu rokna heart hai, right? If your mind wants to go to the bar and you say nahi jana, that's heart. Jisi dhar li jisi part karna hai, heart hunda hai. If you say rent space shuru hogi, jisi ek chauke sari rent space chhodni hai. We baithna jo marji ho jave. Like David Goggins, right? Lata tot jaan, who cares? Stay sitting. You're not gonna die, right? If your legs hurt, but right? I know. I've had that thought, right? कि दिन में I'm like, lata tot gayi hai bas. Hone uth nahi hona. But it's not true. It's not gonna. Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing bad's gonna happen to you. So what is it? Why are we getting up? Why are we getting up from Kirtan and leaving? Like, it's just because we take a little bit of discomfort and we're like, bas, bahut ho gaya. We need to be, jade hum aapar khati sege, thodi ja pehla hat karke, fir rasavan lag janda. Jo rasavan lag jave, fir part aappe hunda. Then you can't stop doing part. So you have to first, because look, for so long, so many lives, we've been engrossed in Maya. So all of a sudden now, you say we want to part karna. It's difficult. But you have to have the drive to force yourself in the beginning to do a little bit of part. Then the more you do it, then it becomes easy and easy and easy. Afterwards, it's just naturally, you're just doing part all the time. Another example, Sant Gurban Singh ji. So this was actually, me and my wife, we were reading Sant Gurban Singh ji's Jeevani, and we were inspired to try to replicate it. So I'll tell you how we're kind of trying to replicate that. So Sant Gurban Singh ji became an Akhand Pathi by the age of 6.5. By 7.5, he did Akhand Path Raul. He could do 60 angs an hour. So the speed that we can do Sukhmani Sahib in, he could do part anywhere from Guru Granth Sahib in that speed. In later years, his part was so subtle. I mean, he could do part from memory for Akhand Path. That's how many times he done Gurbani part over and over and over again until it was like doing Chaupe Sahib, right? You want to do Mool Mantra, you can do Mool Mantra very quickly, right? Chaupe Sahib is very easy, you can do it very quickly. Imagine having that subtleta throughout all of Gurbani. It was like water for him. Sorry, Gurbani can't come easy, right? So we looked at it, we're like, okay, is it possible? Is that possible? And my wife was like, I'm going to do it with Deva Singh, right? And I was like, he's a little kid, right? But she was inspired. But you know what? If these Mahapurukhs did it, then our kids can also become Mahapurukhs like this too. They were also just human beings, right? They have same body as us. Do bahan, do latta. They didn't come with like 4 arms so they can do more parts than us, right? Right? They're born in a human body. They started from humble beginnings, but they started and they were dedicated. Pichon chalo change bhag nahi hunde a, pichon kirpa naal leke aaye ne, but it's possible for everybody because once we take an Amrit, we're marked by Guru Sahib to be great, to meet Vaheguru. We have the possibility within us. All we have to do is try. So what my wife started doing, what Deva saying is taking like one ang at a time and making him repeat over and over and over again. So it's pretty amazing that he can now do the first 30 angs of Siddha. He's 4 years old from Nadiwal. And we weren't even trying to make him memorize it. But because kids are so receptive, right? So if you take a kid, give him a shabd, they memorize it very quickly. So like some angs he can do just from memory. And it's because we started with a little bit of effort. And so the same thing we can apply in all our lives. So after he started doing that, otherwise he's going to get, when he gets older, he's going to be like, so now I have to try doing it too, right? And so that's the kind of dedication. If these Mahapurushs can do it, we can do it as well. Another example, this is the best example. Bhai Singh ji. If you read Jail Chittiyan, you can read the English translation of it if you don't know how to read Punjabi. In Jail Chittiyan, the first about 100 pages, it's a must read. Okay? That's like, if you haven't read the first 100 pages, you don't know what Sikhi is. Okay? So, get Jail Chittiyan. Get the autobiography of Bhai Singh, read the first 100 pages at least, okay? Because Bhai Sahib, in that 100 pages, he writes the formula to meet Vaheguru. What did Bhai Sahib do? How did Bhai Sahib meet Vaheguru? This is the only Mahapurush which is written from his own hand. I had darshan of Vaheguru. How did he have darshan of Vaheguru? He did lagatar. Before taking Amrit, he did lagatar part of Sukhmani Sahib. After taking Amrit, he's inna jyada Sukhmani Sahib da part karde si, kehne akhand part chalde si Sukhmani Sahib de. Day and night. Sukhmani Sahib da part finish hunda siga, agla shuru ho janda si. Lagatar part kita. For like such a long time, he was just doing lagatar part of Sukhmani Sahib. Then when he had Prakash of Naam, I don't want to ruin the story for you, right? So read yourself as well. But for the presentation, when he had Prakash of Naam, jadon unnu Gurmantar prapt hoya, at that point, he just said, "Chadna hi nahi hona bas. Jive maji japi jana, mar jange japi jana." That's the best way to die. The best way to die is trying to do Gurbani part and Naam. That's the worst can happen, right? If we go like, je koi idna kar le, main hun lagatar naam japna, main chadna hi nahi. Sona nahi, main naam japi jana bas. After 24 hours, 48 hours, what's the worst can happen? Right? That's what Bhai Sahib did. Lagatar kari gaye. Lagatar naam japi gaye. Te unhone hat tar liya ki main naam japna hai. He got to this avastha at that point where naam was going by itself. Ape naam jap rahe sige. Te fir when he reached right before getting darshan, he had realization, and then he submitted to Vaheguru. At that point, he had darshan of Vaheguru. This is the Mahapurush which has written his own hands. It's not from Guru Sahib's time, just from 100 years ago. So if these Mahapurushs can do it, we can do it too. Of course, we can never be like them. They're greater. They're so great that we can never be exactly like them. But we can try to be like them. We can try to copy them. We can try to copy the great things they did. Because by doing so, we'll become great as well. These Mahapurushs, they copied other Mahapurushs. Inhone bhi hor Gursikham se sun ke paath kite hai. They had the sangat of great Gurmukhs, and from those Gurmukhs they learned we asi paath kariye, naam japiye, vad kariye. Why are we content in just doing Panjabani in the morning? You know, people they sometimes they complain we Bhai Sahib Panjabaniyan karniyan bahut aukhiyan lagdiyan ne. Kei wari ਢਿੱਲ ho jandi hai. So then imagine if you're doing only 5 Vani in the morning, if something bad happens, it's a possibility that you might miss your part. But if you build up your Nitnem, we 5 Vaniyan karniyan ne, Sukhmani Sahib da paath zarur karna roj, Nitnem karna hi hai. then if something bad happens, maybe your Sukhmani Sahib might get missed for one day, but your Panjabaniya won't, because now there's a barrier, right? The more part you add to your Nityanim, the easier your part's going to become. I'll give my example for my wife again, because she's not here, right, at the camp. So she was doing Panjagranthi for quite some time, and she used to struggle doing Panjagranthi every day. So she was saying, Panjagranthi is so hard, every day. I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm still trying to finish my part, and I always struggle every day. It's the hardest part to do. What happened is, Sangat gave her a hukum to practice Angas of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So now she's like, "ਹੁਣ मैं ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰੂੰ? Panjagranthi ਤਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ। ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਅੰਗ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰੂੰਗੀ ਰੋਜ਼?" तो मैं कहा, too bad, right? करना ही पैना होता है. So she started doing it. And then she told me afterwards, she's like, funny thing is now Panjagranthi is really easy. And the angs are the hard part, right? So I was like, add something else now. Always okay with you, right? So that's what it is. The more you add, the easier it's going to become. If you're doing only Panjabaniya, it's very hard. It's the hardest thing to do. Add Sukhmani Sada part. Add Asa Ki Var every day. Do Bhavana Kriyom, Kar Siddhu Ghosh. These are Baniya, these are Mahapurukhs you should do every day. We look at their Nityanim, right? ਜਿਵੇਂ ਪਸੰਦ ਗੁਰਬਚਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਸੀ, 5 ਗ੍ਰੰਥੀ ਤੇ 10 ਗ੍ਰੰਥੀ ਰੋਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਸੁਣਦੇ ਸੀ ਜਾਂ ਆਪ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਗੁਰਮੁਖਾਂ ਤੋਂ. So it's something that we can do. Dedicate another hour of your day towards doing Nityanim, another extra Nityanim. Right? These are all achievable goals. And slowly, those goals, those achievements will come together and you'll become closer to meeting Vaheguru.
So just remember, like Paisa made a really good point, that they're still humans at the end of the day. Those Mahapurukhs, Bacho Mahapurukhs ban gaye, when they were at their birth, they were just humans who made that effort to take it to the next step. Because no one has ever gotten Brahm Gyan without putting the effort to do so, either in this life or in a previous life. So sometimes we do hear stories at a very young age. Mahapurukhs are gifted with the blessing of like Brahm Gyan, or like a very high spiritual state. But that's from some sort of effort that they put in from a previous life or a different life. And sometimes when we look at worldly goals, like I was telling you the example about like the basketball players, the runners, maybe your sareer or your body is not fit to do something like that, right? Maybe someone's not, they can never be fast, or maybe someone can never jump high, or maybe someone can say like you can't think about numbers, like I'm not good at math, right? But what do you need to jump now, right? All you need is just a rasana, right? If you have this rasana, you don't have, even if you have no arms, you have no legs, this is all you need. And you can, there's no other excuse. What excuse is there? Oh, मैं काम ते जाता हूँ, फिर हम काम ते फिर वो खाऊंगा. Why can't you use your tongue at that time to jab naam while you're working, or while you're doing any kind of work? There's nothing stopping you. We just put that barrier on ourselves, and we make it seem like it's something so hard. When at the end of the day, it's really simple. It's just say something. That's all. You're just saying something from your jeeb, right? Like if someone told me to talk all day and you'll get mukti, right? Talk about movies all day. We would all be mukti, right? Or anything, like there's just
gossip.
So I remember you were asking me about this at the first day of camp, and like, are we destined to do what we do, or is it because of effort? Something along the lines of that. So, what do you guys think? Is success, is it based on destiny, or is it based on effort?
Effort.
Okay, effort. All
I was
right.
going to say effort.
Mixture of both.
So, yes, okay. So, destiny is like, it will take you to a certain point. But the rest of that mission that you have in life, it's up for you, your own self, to fulfill it. You know, you always hear, sometimes, I don't know if you heard the example where Guru Sahib Ji will put the food in front of you, but it's your job to like pick it up and eat it, right? They're not going to put the food in your mouth and make you eat it, force feed you. You have to do something. So there's so many Gurbani Panktiyan. If you know, some of you are born here, you probably don't have that good Punjabi. Everyone should know, but you guys know what the word Udam means? What does Udam mean? Effort, right? Effort. So, Sagal Udam mein Udam pala, har ka naam japo ji. Uthe effort di gal hogi uthe na. Destiny di gal hai nahi ਇਹਦੇ 'ਚ. But destiny maybe took you to that certain that spot, that avastha, that sangat, wherever it took you. But now it's your job to go the rest of the way. There's always tests in life. You fail one test, you're going to feel your whole life could get ruined, right? Like I remember Guru Sahib Di Kirpa Naal, when I came into Sangat and I met Bhai Sahib, and there was a group of us, and some people, there was another Singh around the same time he came to Sangat with us. And I wouldn't say I'm not special, I'm just a normal person. And he was just like that. He was just a normal person, normal Gursikh. He took Amrit. We took Amrit at the same time. I would guess that our destiny was probably not mine. I was special, or he was more special than me. We had the same opportunity. We found Sangat, and we were given the opportunity to do Sangat every day, follow our Rahat, do Nitnem every day. And after a while, what happened is that for whatever circumstances, he stopped coming to Sangat. Right? And when he stopped coming to Sangat, everything works in doubles in Sikhi, right? So if you make one mistake, it rolls into a big, big mistake. So then if you stop going to Sangat, and I remember in my mind, I was thinking this particularly, where Gursikhs, they would come and they would do Nitnem, and one time we did Nitnem, Guru Sahib Zikr Para was like, we did a lot of Sukhmi Sahibs in the morning. It was about like, we wanted to do 10 Sukhmi Sahibs in the morning, right? And I'm not something special, I can't do any of that by myself. I just showed up, right? I just showed up, and but like, I had that opportunity not to do just one Sukhmi Sahib, but 10 Sukhmi Sahibs. Well, that person who had left Sangat, he didn't miss out on one Sukhmi Sahib. He didn't miss out on 2. He didn't miss out on 5. He didn't miss out on 9. He missed out on 10 Sukhmi Sahibs. Now you keep adding that every day. If we do Amrit Vela for like 2-3 hours every day, he's missing that and it's adding up and it's doubling, right? It works in double. So look how now the gap between, let's say, someone who stayed in Sangat and someone who didn't choose to stay in Sangat. It's not small. By the end of your lifetime, that 2 hours every day becomes however many, and let's say in 1 year is 365. Oh, I'm gonna have to do math. I'm so sorry, it's driving me out, right? But let's say like 700, 800 hours of extra part you're doing than the other person, and then you add over that like over your whole lifetime. Like that's thousands and thousands of hours of difference that you just made, and that's just from destiny taking you to that spot of okay, we're taking you to something. Now it's your choice. You fail that one test, and you're done. So all you have to do is don't fail, right? The reason that Bhai Sahib or me or any of us, like we're able to keep just basic Rahat and Amrit Vela is not because we're special. We're not special. The only thing I learned as a young kid that I could say was the best thing that was ever taught to me is be loyal, right? And never. If you're going to stick to a path, just stick to that always. So if you're sticking with Sangat, don't ever leave that Sangat. Or else, because on your own you won't be able to do anything. Just make the right choices. That's it. Don't fail the test. And Guru Sahib will take you the rest of the way. So steps to achieve your goal of meeting Vaheguru. So let's go over some practical ways. How can we meet Vaheguru? And how can we achieve this goal? How can we do more than the bare minimum? So a lot of you guys have probably heard the quote that Rome was not built in a day. Okay, you're not going to, today you're not going to, unless you have some, especially you're not going to start by taking Amrit and then start doing like 24 hours Naam Chaldaya, or 20 hours a day you're doing Sukhni Sahib the part. It's a process, okay? But within that process, don't always remember that fundamentals are important. Okay, and keeping basic Rahat should never be overlooked. So that basic that I told you when you took Amrit, the first thing that you promised Guru Sahib Ji, that's very important. That's what's gonna lead you to the next step. So always try going above and beyond the call of duty. That could mean like Panthik Seva, maybe like I gave the example before, like pick something that you're interested in. There's so many things you can do in Sikhi, right? Like you were telling me, I said you're talking about like how you, I think it was the Sikh Reddit that you have, and he, should I give away your secret?
Oh no, just no.
But he's very active in different ways, and he helps our channel in different ways too. And he's always like, you know, he's always active in that way. If that's what you like, right? Like make it your life's goal that I want to be the best Sikh Redditor ever. Even though you're probably like the only ever, but like just prachar on the internet as much as you can, right? If that's your goal. If you like, I don't know, there's so many things that people like doing. Personally, what do I like doing? It's so weird how Guru Sahib Ji like fulfilled my dream. I had this before I took Amrit. I was into like music so much, right? And I like making like, I didn't make tunes at that time. I actually learned it after I took Amrit. But I used to listen to songs in like in a movie, and that's the thing I would take out of the movie. I'm like, oh, the music was so good. The background music was so good. It's a weird way to think, but I'm just a really musical guy. And after when we started our Gurman channel, the opportunity arose just so randomly. I'm like, how am I ever going to like I used to think about how is this ever going to come, this opportunity on my plate that I will be able to like make music or something, like background music for a movie or something, right? And when we started the channel, we had to make music on the background for some of the videos, and I learned everything, and I learned the software, and I love doing it, right? It's something I love to do. So that seva is not worth less than a different seva, right? Whatever you love to do, just have that itch in your mind, and then Guru Sahib will fulfill it. So increasing your nityadim incrementally, okay? There's a story of Sant Jarnail Singh Ji, where we heard about, you guys have heard about how many Japji Sahib Ji used to do. And I've heard from 108 and then all the way to like he's done a lot more than 108 a day. And they said that how did he start? He started with 5, and then he kept increasing it, then 10, then 20, then 40, then 50, right? And if sometimes when we have this, I don't want to say you should have these unrealistic goals, but at a certain point you should still think that I want to achieve my unrealistic goals in a realistic way. Okay? Have unrealistic goals. I don't mean unrealistic, but just like very high goals that are really far, that you think no one else can achieve, but you'll be able to achieve it. But try achieving it in a realistic way, right? What happens is sometimes we say that, oh, I'm going to start doing 100 japji times a day. And just having that on your mind, once you get to 2, you're like, I have 98 left. Are you going to do those 98? Right? But if you're saying, I want to do 5 japji times, and then you're done 2, it's like 2 ਤੇ 5 ਵਿੱਚ ਫਰਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ 2 ਤੇ 100 ਵਿੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਫਰਕ ਹੈ. Okay, so have realistic goals or realistic ways to achieve your goals. Keep track of what you're doing. Maybe you can in your own mind give each part a certain value. Okay, when I started doing Sangat, this is the first time I heard about it, that they say that Sukhmani Sahib is like worth like 1. If you count Sukhmani Sahib as 1 part, Japji Sahib is 5 of those. Is 5 Japji Sahibs equals 1 Sukhmani Sahib. 25 Chaupai Sahibs equals 1 Sukhmani Sahib. And 100 Basant Ki Wars equals 1 Sukhmani Sahib. There's all these different kind of ways you can. Those are the main ones that I learned. But like, if you have that in your mind, yeah, this is, or maybe Sukhmani Sahib takes me 40 minutes. Maybe I can jump on for 40 minutes. Just have that. Just like have some sort of like track. You can track everything. Like how many points am I getting, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what Dharmaraj is doing. He's keeping track of how many points you have, right? Basically, that's what it is, right? You do something bad, you lose a point. You do something good, you gain a point. And you don't want to go at the end of your life and you don't want to have a negative balance, right? You want to have a positive balance. So I think it's really, this is a really good way to excel. So if you guys want to try that, you guys can try that. Anytime you do pop, Maybe like Vada Pop is like negative like 100 points. But I don't know how you're going to determine that yourself, but you can just make it up somehow. But just have some thought in your mind, or maybe just like how many hours in the day did I do Bob, how many hours did I do Japna, how many times did I waste time, right? Reflect at the end of the day your misdeeds and your good deeds. Okay, so before you sleep, Guru Sikh told me that what you should do is always think about the whole day, what did I do right, what did I do wrong? And fix what you did wrong and keep doing what you did right. And
I have a point on that. That point about logging your galtiyan, right? So the Gurmukh, that actually I saw him do this. So what he did is he would write down every time he did anything wrong, galti hogi koi hai na, and he found anything, he'd write it down in his diary. आज मैं दिने मैं झूठ बोल होया मैं तो गलती नाल मैं पाठ नहीं कीता पूरा ਜਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਮਾੜੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਰੱਖੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਗੁੱਸੇ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ ਸੋ ਹੀ ਰੋਟ ਡਾਊਨ ਐਵਰੀਥਿੰਗ ਐਵਰੀ ਡੇ ਵੈਰੀ ਮੈਟਿਕੂਲਸਲੀ ਵੀ ਅੱਜ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਆਹ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਮੈਂ ਪਾਠ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੀ ਯੂਜ਼ਡ ਟੂ ਰਾਈਟ ਡਾਊਨ ਐਵਰੀ ਸਿੰਗਲ ਡੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਇਕੱਠਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਐਂਡ ਦੈਨ ਅਰਾਮ ਸੰਚਾਰ ਹੀ ਕੇਮ ਵਿਦ ਦ ਹੋਲ ਲਿਸਟ ਆਫ ਥਿੰਗਸ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਆਹ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਮੈਂ ਰੋਜ਼ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਨੀਆਂ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਕਰਦਾ. So this is Gurmukhs actually do that kind of stuff, right? That they actually they look at their day and say, like, yeah, look, I did this much part today. Tomorrow I'm going to do more than that. So actually logging it in Excel, right, or in your diary. We want to inne shabd count ho gaye. Even if bholne nahi hon. Let's add a few more shabds and have a goal, timeline. Okay, ek hafte ch main ek shabd count karna hai. Right, within 1 year you'll have 52 shabds memorized. That 1 week is not that big of a deal, it's just one shabd, right? At the end of the year, you can say, look, I have this many shabds, right? Give me kitne wali. So this is how you progress. And keep a track of that. So that now you can say, you look back after 1 year, and you can say, yeah, 1 year ago, I was doing this much part. Now I'm doing this much part. I feel like I'm still not doing enough, but at least it's better than before, right? It's never going to be enough, but at least it'll be better than before. You can reflect from yesterday to today. Be a better person than you were yesterday, every day. But you only know that if you keep track. And if you keep track of any mistakes you've made, then you'll know not to make the mistake again. That this kind of situation happened, when my mom tells me to clean my room, I get angry. Okay, I got angry today. My mom told me clean your room, I got angry today. That was wrong. So now tomorrow she tells me to clean my room, maybe I'll just run away before I get angry, right?
Sometimes the kids, they mix up like beer ras siga.
Yeah, it's not beer ras, it's gussa, okay? So then now I know, okay, whenever my mom tells me to clean my room, I get angry, मैं पहले ही कमरा साफ कर लेगा और मैं मम्मी को समझा दूँगा भी लोड नहीं होती है ना. So these are the kind of ways you can kind of, gauge yourself. Make it like a video game, Have fun with it. Then you keep yourself interested.
Yeah, I can't stress that goals are really so important. And just from my daily experiences, I know that like if I don't have like a goal of what I'm gonna do, then I just sit there and like you just watch the hours just go away. Like I could have got. I was just thinking like 2 months I was free from school and like. I could have got like so many, if I just had structured something, I could have got maybe 2 months every day. If I spent 1 hour, maybe I could have got like a call to the contour, like who knows what I could have got, or who knows what kind of kirtani I would have been if I just practice every day. So having goals is very, very important. And Sangat of High Vasta Guru Sikhs, they will always keep you in check because you guys you can challenge yourself with other people and they'll make you want to do more. So I gave this example before. I'm just like really happy. Like I told you about the music thing. Like Guru Sahib, I've always had this like thought in my mind. I'm like, how am I ever going to tell this to anyone, right? I want to be a philosopher sort of. So I always thought about this. So if you were told you are diagnosed with the condition that if you don't wake up before 2:30, you will die. Okay? I'm not gonna ask. Maybe you guys are lying. I don't know who's gonna tell the truth. But I'm guessing that all of you guys would put your hands up. That you guys would be too scared, and you guys would not wake up after 2:30. If you knew it was pakka, like main marna, na, you would not risk it, right? You would listen to the doctor. You would wake up. The other situation, someone offers you $100 billion for life. But you have to wake up before 2:30. If you ever missed an Amrit Vela, that's it. All your wealth is gone. Or whatever. Maybe you're not inspired by wealth. Maybe it's something that you really, really want, right? Worldly thing. Just imagine if they just told you that. How much would your mindset change? Right? Would your priorities change? That you don't have to go to work anymore, right? You wouldn't think about work. You'd be like, no, all I have to do is just wake up at 2:30. So your priorities in life would change, and you would most likely wake up. For the majority of the world, would mostly wake up. So always remember death. Always remember that you don't know when we're gonna go, right? And what's gonna happen in the afterlife. You don't want to regret it. You don't want to regret 1 second. If you remember death, and at the same time, that's one way you can remember a call that I'm going to die one day. I'm gonna have to or you can motivate yourself by giving reward. So like in the second example that's the reward aspect, right? Someone told you you're going to get this much money. If you could imagine if in some way you could actually calculate, and every moment someone was just behind you like, okay, for the end point cut again, right? How much of a difference would that make? If you could see it, to go, okay, what's going to happen if someone's actually calculating everything I do, every single moment? How much would that change? So keep that in mind. So the last one, maybe I just thought we could challenge Sangat. We can talk to the organizers of this.
So, see, you know how you said that if someone wants to be the software or running or whatever, and see if any like you get up and to be great, like how you were talking about.
Anji.
Sometimes my dad tells me that I'm gonna do capital. You'll be better in studies, you'll get good grades, things like that. So what do you think about when someone says, "Ke Amrit Vela Utho," so you get these worldly things? Is that Bani Naam Simran that you do still beneficial?
Yeah. Okay, so there's a Gurbani Pankti. Apne lobh ko kinno meet, sagal padarth mukt pad.
Example भी दे दो भाई साहब जी.
हाँ जी. So I might be the second Pankti. I'm not correctly remembering it. But Bhai Singh Ji's life, the same thing happened to him. His beginning with Gurbani was in order to excel in his studies. His father wrote him a letter saying, "Japji Sada Path karo, and you'll be better at your studies, and you'll get good numbers, good grades." So Bhai Sahib started doing part for that worldly itcha. And he writes that, saying that I started to do part for a worldly itcha, and then Vaheguru gave me everything. Right? Things I didn't even think I wanted. And I realized that this is what I actually needed. So that part, ਉਹਦਾ ਲਾਹਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਆ. ਪਹਿਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੀਜ਼ ਮੰਗ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਉਹਦਾ ਲਾਹਾ ਵੀ ਮਿਲਦਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ is ਪਾਰਸ ਕਲਾ. Doesn't matter even if you're doing it for any other, let's say you're doing part for another Gursikh. Right? There's a question that comes regularly. If I do part for another Gursikh, if someone's sick, right? Someone has a disease. If I do part for their Chardi Kala, for Guru Sahib to Kirpa on them, do I get Kamai for that too? Yeah. Because it's not like Guru Sahib is not going to take it from you and give it to them. Although Guru Sahib is going to right? Guru Sahib has everything. So, वो तानु भी दे देंदे आ, उन्होंने भी Kirpa कर देंदे आ, because you recited Gurbani. Like you're asking for good grades, or you're asking for success at work, or you're asking for a child, or you're asking for to be rid of disease. ਉਹ ਕੰਮ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ, ਪਰ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਪਾਰਸ ਕਲਾ ਵਰਤ ਕੇ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਵੀ ਵਰਤਦੀ ਹੈ, ਆਪਣੇ ਤੇ ਕਮਾਈ ਵੀ ਵੱਧਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਨੇੜਤਾ ਵੀ ਵੱਧਦੀ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨਾਲ. And when you are able to achieve smaller goals, the bigger goals become more realistic. So if you ever heard of any Gursikh, there's a lot of Gursikh stories of Gursikhs who were first, they had some illness, and then they started to jap naam to rid themselves of this illness. After they were achieved that one miracle, after that they become totally dedicated to Vaheguru. Right? There's a Gursikh by the name of Sardar Ji ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦੁਖਪੰਜਨ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਹਰਦਿਆਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਦੁਖਦਾਰੂ ਉਹ ਕਰਦੇ ਨਾ ਨਾਮ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਸਭ ਲੋਕ ਔਖਦ ਨਾਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. They use ਨਾਮ and Gurbani to heal people. So his story is very inspirational. He started to do Simran to rid himself of his disease. After that one miracle, his Bharosa on Guru Sahib became like unimaginable. He said that Naam can do anything, right? If you're able to, if you jump Naam and you're able to get good grades at school, you're going to be like, "Man, to किसी चीज़ की लोड़ ही नहीं है कि, मैं तो मैं बस नाम जप रही हूँ, सारा कुछ मेरे सारे काम हो जाने, and you're going to do more and more similar." So this very good, actually it's a recommendation that you should do that. Use Gurbani and Naam in your life, right, to motivate yourself to do more Gurbani and Naam.
So lastly, I want to give you guys something that you guys can take me after the camp. I was thinking of talking with the organizers. Maybe you can organize something where we actually keep track of something. Because again, when you start keeping track and you have to, like when you're doing Sangat, and a lot of you guys who don't have Sangat, when you're required to tell someone like, how much I did today, then you will automatically you'll want to do more, right? So some challenges I thought about. Maybe for those of you, 40 days Amrit Vela, that means waking up before 2:30 and going to Sangat if possible. And this one right here is main, okay? So I know a lot of you guys, maybe some of you guys do Amrit Vela, but you don't do Ishnan with cold water, okay? So, I heard in one of SDOs when he's doing Kirtan, he said, those who do not do shower with cold water are culprits, okay? So, you don't want to be a culprit. We should try our best not to fulfill not just one hukam of waking up, but take a shower with cold water as well. And this has been like a new, it's like a fad, if you want to call it. A lot of successful people who are in training, particularly anything to do with running or with body, physical activities, right? People who excel in that, they're really they encourage cold showers and waking up in the morning, 3-4 o'clock. Because I don't know how many of you guys, but I still get sleepy in the morning, right? But when I used to do Ishnan in the mornings with garam pani naan, I was just knocked out, right? I just go there and just go to sleep. Actually, just particularly when I remember when we first started, we used to go to the Gurudwara. There was a group of 5-6 of us, and all of us used to be passed out. There was this one older Singh, he would just be staying there. And I remember right when I changed my habits, I started taking cold Ishnan. It just made a big difference.
So with cold Ishnan, right? That means freezing cold water. Okay. So try it. I'm not sure how. It's not that cold. When you come to Toronto in the winters, right? And you take a thanda pani Ishnan, the kabad khul jande. फिर सब कुछ वाहिगुरु याद आते हैं बस. मतलब कि I am very scared. तो मेरे पे तो बहुत ज़्यादा कृपा पड़ी है. Look, I'll tell you, I've been Amritari for a long time now, right? I've been doing Thanda Pani Ishnan Ghusl for a long time. I'm still scared of Thanda Pani sometimes. So what happens is, and I know I kind of heard this thing from Guru Sikh and I try to apply it to myself and it works, right? So this Guru Sikh, he told me that what he did when he was trying to get into doing Thanda Ishnan is he would remember Chali Mukte, remember all the Gurmukhs who got Shahidiyan, right? And so he before starting the Ishnan, right? Can pani chala ke piche khad ke, right? I've done this. Main kita na pani chala ke piche khad gaya.
Do it bucket and mug, that is easy.
Just start moving for water and then just keep moving it towards the cold water and that works.
इतना पर मजा नहीं होता.
It's not that way.
हाँ जी. So that's gradually you can get into it. But I'll tell you what I do. I turn the water on, right? So I turn the water on full cold, and I stand back, okay? Look at the water. And if I wait, I'm too scared. So I give myself a time limit. At the end I have to jump in, okay? By the 5th time I actually do it, right? So after one month I'm like, but this Guru Sikh told me, he's like, look, Singh, right? They gave their life for Sikhi. He said, no matter what the musibat is in your life, remember all the shaheeds and how they got shaheed. Okay, he used to actually remember and say it out loud. right? He would recite all the Shahidiyan and how those Shahidiyan happen. And he's like, then any problem in my life seems like nothing. How small of a Qurbani is taking a Thanda Ashnan? वो सिंह तो सीख दे गए, है ना, बंद कटाए गए, ते वो नहीं डोले, they didn't pull their hand back. ਅਸੀਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਠੰਡਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਵਾਲੀ, but this is nothing. And the when you take a ਠੰਡਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਇਸ਼ਨਾਨ, Gursikhs, they told us this, and I can understand how this happens, and I've seen the actual practicality of it. ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਠੰਡਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਇਸ਼ਨਾਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਸਰੀਰ ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਖੇਚਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ for a very split second. It's hard to do, right? But this Qurbani for Guru Sahib's hukam erases so many of your sins, so many of your made karam, that's unbelievable. Imagine there's a very big disease that's written in your karams, and every day you're doing this Qurbani, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਰੀਰ ਤੇ ਝਾਲ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਹਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, those diseases, they get erased. ਕਰ ਇਸ਼ਨਾਨ ਸਿਮਰ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਆਪਣਾ ਮਨ ਤਨ ਭਏ ਅਰੋਗਾ, ਤਾਂ ਰੋਗ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸਰੀਰ, ਉਦੋਂ ਤਾਂ ਜੇ ਠੰਡਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਚਲਾ ਲੈ ਤਾਂ ਨਾਮ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ, ਰਾਈਟ, ਅਦਰਵਾਈਜ਼ ਤਾਂ ਹੋਸ਼ ਮੌਕਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਨਾ, ਠੰਡਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਤੇ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਠੰਡੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ਼ਨਾਨ ਕਰਨਾ, ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਹਾਂਜੀ,
ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਨਾ ਕਰੋਨਾ ਵਾਇਰਸ ਆਇਆ, ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਨਾ YouTube ਤੇ ਵੇਖੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਇਮਿਊਨ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਕਰਨਾ, ਤੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਆਈਸ ਬਾਥ ਲੈਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾ ਵਿਨੇਪੈਗ ਉੱਥੇ ਚੰਗੀ ਬਰਫ਼ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਆਈਸ ਬਾਥ ਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਸ਼ਾਵਰ ਵਾਲਾ ਠੰਡਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਠੰਡਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ,
ਹਾਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ,
ਫੁੱਲ ਠੰਡਾ ਵੀ ਠੰਡਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ।
ਤੇ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਠੰਡਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਆਈਸ ਤੋਂ ਉਠਾ ਲੈ ਪਹਿਲੇ, ਤੇ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਕੰਪਲੇਨ ਨਹੀਂ
ਉਹ ਨਾਰਮਲ ਲੱਗਣ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ।
And that's true. When you do it every day, it's gonna be not like nothing. But I'm telling you from my experience. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਡਰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਠੰਡੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਤੋਂ। So if I can do it, you can do it too.
ਛੋਟੇ ਸਾਹਿਬਜ਼ਾਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੱਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਠੰਡਾ ਬੁਰਜ ਵਾਲਾ ਸਮਾਨ।
Exactly. ਦੇਖੋ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਚੱਲੇ ਨੇ ਗੁਰਮੁਖਾਂ ਨੇ, this is nothing. And once you start doing it, it becomes normal. And if you're still scared like me, just do that. Moon mantar, give yourself that much time to get ready, and then just jump in, and you'll be okay.
Yeah, the more you think, the harder it's going to be. Don't think. So, other challenges: one Sukhmani Sahib a day for 40 days. For those of you who don't do Sukhmani Sahib, maybe you guys can start that. 10 Japji Sahibs a day. 10 Mala Jap of Mool Mantar. So that's one Mala is like 100 times. And if you do that 10 times a day, maybe you guys can do that. Wearing full barna for a week, get that experience. What's it feel like to go outside in the world and see like how much your confidence increases just by wearing barna, right? And how much you stop caring about what people say. I think that's one thing that stops people a lot of the time from keeping that a particular barna, is that they're scared, like what will people think of us. Just experience it, just see what happens, right? Like you're not gonna die, like you said with the thande pani snan, you're not gonna like die if you stay in cold water, right? Nothing's gonna happen. Changing your eating habits, try avoid eating like out from restaurants. Just try it for 40 days and see how much of a difference it makes in your avastha and your ability to do bad. And personally, this is one thing that really changed. I remember particularly I used to do Amrit Vela, and I didn't keep it baked, and I used to eat from restaurants. You eat outside. I would even eat pizza before, like I would go to a restaurant and eat, and then I'd do my Amrit Vela after like 12 to like 5 o'clock, but I'll be like sleeping the whole time, right? When I changed my eating habits, that's when I was able to be alert. So everything, not just that cold water, shan, but everything. So advance, so for the people who are already doing stuff, maybe you are doing Sukhmani Sahib, try doing 5 Sukhmani Sahibs a day for 40 days. Try doing 25 Japji Sahibs a day. Try doing 250 Japji Sahibs a day, right? So maybe we can challenge each other. Maybe there's some group we can make. I don't know what we can do. We can ask the counselors at this the camp what we can do. But just try challenging yourself. Because I know little kids, 5-6-year-old, that do like 10 Mool Mantra jobs a day, like 10, which is equal to like 10 Japji Sahibs. I've known kids who were in like grade 5, grade 6. They were doing 200, 300 Japji Sahibs a day. So if little kids can do it, then what's stopping you, right? And eventually you're going to have to do it one day. If not in this life, then you don't want to come back and do it in another life. So let's challenge each other. And that's the end of our presentation. So.